XRP, has been accessible to the general public for more than over 12 years, during which time it has created numerous new millionaires. And accomplishing that is not the end of it. I mean, consider it. You really had to wait over 5 years for XRP to reach its all-time high of $3.35 on January 4th, 2018. If you purchased it when it was first available in 2013, that is a considerable amount of time to wait. Now, if you bought immediately after that, as I did, I suppose you began buying toward the end of 2017 and then made a lot more purchases in 2018 when the market started to decline. The wait was much longer. Additionally, many of you listening are in my situation, and I'm not complaining when I say this. To tell the truth, I'm ecstatic about the opportunity. It's merely the fact that the US government targeted us with an SEC lawsuit that targeted all XRP holders worldwide. Thus, the most recent market cycle was missed. Even if we have experienced some hardship, the opportunity is still evident. A few new millionaires have already been created by XRP's recent all-time high, but there will be the greatest number of new millionaires ever created because there are far more people in XRP presently. And the real chance for transformative wealth will present itself after we receive this second pump. In fact, it's that close. I also don't speak in this manner. Since I started this channel in 2018, I have spent the majority of my time creating videos. I don't talk like this, but when it makes sense, when we're at the appropriate moment, and when it makes sense to think that you're going to have that ecstatic bull run, I will talk like this. This is the time we live in. It will arrive. This is not a pipe dream of any kind. Don't adopt a pessimistic mindset that says, I never experienced these kinds of situations. Well, if you're in the right place, they can. If we are correct in our assessment that XRP will continue to be useful after this cycle, which I think we are, then new millionaires will continue to be created in succeeding cycles. However, I will maintain that this is the absolute best moment to own XRP. Additionally, I will share with you the opinions of several different analysts, and I don't know how to help you if this doesn't give you hope for what's going to happen in the near to medium term, because it's clear that, even though nothing in life is certain, it's highly likely that XRP will melt faces when it enters price discovery for the first time in more than 7 years. I do want to be clear, though, before continuing, I have no financial experience. I'm not giving financial advice, and whatever I say or write should not lead you to buy or sell anything. I'm merely a hobbyist who likes to create YouTube videos about crypto-related subjects for enjoyment. It is Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 at 8:05 p.m. Central Time when I record this video. XRP is $2.93 as well. We've made some progress since I released a video early this morning. Once more, what was XRP? A 24-hour chart is shown here. In any case, I suppose the 24-hour low is $2.82. Bitcoin was purchased for $118,164. Additionally, you will receive a different response if you question a different analyst. However, these dips that are occurring here are likely to be short-lived and swiftly recouped. This stage is not where we are. The market is in a bear market right now. All you're doing is accumulating. Really, really, really long stretches of time pass before anything remarkable occurs. The world we live in is not like that. In actuality, we are living at the end of a cycle in which things happen quickly. Check out this post then. This comes from Santamon, an on-chain analytics company. An equally unprecedented surge in social influence coincided with Bitcoin's market value sneaking past $123,100 for the first time in its more than 17-year lifetime. At the same time that Bitcoin's market value peaked, 43.06% of all cryptocurrency conversations focused on the cryptocurrency. The abrupt increase was an indication of many retail traders FOMOing in, even if it's normally a great sign that the market cap leader has received the attention it deserves. Another important entry point will probably present itself as the exhilaration subsides. Yes, so I have no doubts about that. And for that reason, this indicator is somewhat entertaining. Even in the short run, you can sort of determine what might be most likely in this situation. However, you won't have to wait long since, as I keep saying, these dips do get devoured rapidly. Actually, check out this post by well-known chart analyst Salsa Tequila. Told his 220,000 followers about this. This dip is at its worst, he says. In my opinion, I will increase my spot bags by about $117,000 and search for longs if there are intraday declines to fade. That, he believes, is about it. This is a post by Khalil Bitcoin, a chart analyst. Clean breakout retest with a longer time window. Continue sending the remaining $150,000 or more. Thus, he likewise believes that the worst is over. Credible Crypto, a chart analyst, posted this. I believe that Bitcoin is about to enter a fourth wave subwave, which could lead to some chop consolidation over the coming days. He believes that, although we might need to take a sideways route, things won't get much worse from here. He did say that he believes there may be $115,000 at stake in another article, but once more, people, we won't have to wait long. He had to be really patient throughout the prior two bear markets, but we don't actually need to be so patient. Definitely. This is a chart of Bitcoin dominance. You will adore this. Take a look. Take a look at Bitcoin's ongoing decline. Thus, it has been on the rise for years, and now it's disintegrating at a time when you would hope and expect it to. Now it stands at 63.76%. It recently approached roughly 66%. You want to see dominance decline with his latest pump, despite the fact that the price of Bitcoin has been rising. Historically, that is typical at the end of each market cycle, which is when alt season finally appears. XRP will therefore have the chance to finally take off at that point in time. Although this isn't a dramatic drop, it is acting in the direction you would expect and hope for. And I can't recall how low it was in the last market cycle, but in the preceding Bitcoin dominance period, it was closer to, say, 35 or 39% or something like that. Dominance can decrease significantly while price increases, but I'd have to Google it quickly to find the correct number. And as long as that keeps happening, it will only serve as more evidence that history is repeating itself. And we should definitely anticipate that altcoins, like XRP, will experience a complete blow up top. This is a post by Blunts, a chart analyst. He is obviously in agreement with this. He claims that the supremacy of Bitcoin is now properly disintegrating. It's great to watch. He's seeing the same thing there then. Here's a post from chart analyst Dom, Bitcoin versus alts. We are currently seeing the third alt outperformance of this cycle, but this time might be different. Bitcoin domination has put in a curved down trending shape, which is a lethal setup. It's different than the last two. The same with others' domination. And so people are clear that's the top 125 coins by market cap, omitting the top 10 coins by market cap. So it's just the rest of them in that group. So he says that others' dominance is just inverse. Bitcoin dominance has broken below a 7-month low, while the dominance of others is breaking above their 7-month downtrend. Both pairs are breaking their 3-month ARVA-WAP, which triggers a trend change. So think about that, folks. Bitcoin dominance is going down and the altcoins are here. The dominance of others is increasing. That inverse relationship, that is exactly what you want to see. And that's historically. Based on historic precedent, that is what we should expect to see. It's happening, I assure you. It is currently taking place. We don't need to exercise much more patience than we have so far. The arc shape of these trends over the past 2 weeks is what most draws my attention, he continues. A trend that has a curved beginning almost always moves strongly in that direction soon after. We'll be keeping a careful eye. And he has previously brought that to light with charts that have nothing to do with dominance. When a curve like this begins to appear, it usually just takes off straight away. And you're seeing that with others' dominance and Bitcoin supremacy. That is wonderful. Here's a post from chart analyst Mustache, #altcoins. This is the first time in several years that Ethereum has outperformed Bitcoin. This is exactly how alt season started in the last cycle, 2017 and 2021.
Exciting times.
Yep. And what I've been telling you this whole time is that Ethereum was never dead, even when it plummeted down to $1,400 in its several times of Mona months ago. I told you that it was silly to suppose that that minute was dead. Pricing of itself is not a cause to conclude that a coin's dead, or then XRP would have been dead in 2024. But that was ridiculous, and I argued that back then too. And thus, instead, Ethereum has burst above $3,000. As I record this, it's overflowing again today. It's actually more than $3,100. You'll be thrilled to see that then. But when you have a full-blown alt season, this is what occurs at that very period. I'm telling you all of this. Therefore, it's okay if you don't own Ethereum or Bitcoin. Although you don't need to be thrilled with those coins' performance, you should be happy that it's occurring since you know what it means for your XRP. I'm sharing this for that reason. This is one of Mikey Bull Crypto's posts. The ascent of Ethereum to a new peak has begun. Thus, he also thinks that. It's a USD Ethereum chart. This is a post from yesterday's blockchain backer. XRP's moment of truth, he remarked. Yes, I would say so. That's correct, of course, as XRP is approaching $3. Just to reiterate, as I mentioned in a few previous videos, the resistance level becomes weaker each time you press it. Thus, it has occurred a few times in the last few days. At some point, I'm telling you, that bitch will be blown right through. It will happen, but I'm not sure if it will be the next time. This is a post by Don Alt, a chart analyst. He told his 673,000 followers on X about this. XRP update decision time, he stated. He undoubtedly concurs that we are encountering opposition in this situation. He also shared that yesterday. He has also made it quite apparent that he thinks it is likely that this thing will explode. He's comparing the current situation with the 2017 events that followed the first huge burst, which naturally consolidated sideways, followed by the second major pump, and finally it was finished. He's making a comparison between now and then, and that makes sense. I have been stating for years that it is the typical course of events, and now it's occurring once more. So, yes, it's time to make a decision, but it will happen. Regarding that, this man is being intellectually honest, and his hatred of XRP is illogical. However, he seems to be pretty intellectually honest about charting, at least in the way he discusses it. Give credit where credit is due. Another man with XRP derangement syndrome is shown here. After that breakout, Nebraska Gooner told his 387,000 followers that XRP is still looking like it would reach all-time highs. XRP's all-time high is on the horizon, according to this hater. By the way, he posted that this afternoon at 2:16 p.m. Central, which was almost 5 hours ago. At 8:14 p.m. Central Time, XRP was trading at $2.91. He anticipates it. He does not wish for that to occur. Despite his extreme hatred of XRP, he is going for it. Cryptolica is a chart analyzer. He predicts a 2-week XRP USD breakout. Additionally, he has been demanding this for a while. I'm merely emphasizing that essentially nothing has changed. Although he is predicting a conservative price of $10 for XRP this cycle, it is possible that the conservative forecasts are correct. It's always feasible. This is a post by Cryptos, a chart analyst. He claims that before lifting off the following week, XRP is retreating against ETH, will retest weekly support, and will form an inverted head and shoulders. All right, so he believes that something is going to happen there soon. The fact that XRP is currently losing ground to Ethereum should come as no surprise. In the past few months, I've discussed this a lot. All season, Ethereum is at the lead. Therefore, when it begins to heat up, it can be at a time when even if XRP is making some progress versus the dollar, it may not be as much as ETH. Naturally, this puts XRP at odds with Ethereum. This is not shocking. However, when XRP eventually goes on the rampage following this, Ethereum will be destroyed. In terms of price performance, Ethereum will be completely overtaken. However, these events must occur one after the other, and this is usually the case. Therefore, this is not at all shocking. But since this usually starts at the beginning of the season, you want to watch it. This is a post from Stuff is Crypto, a chart analyst. The history of XRP is exactly the same. The following 4 weeks will see the creation of millionaires. I hope he's correct about the time though. In fact, given how close we are, he might be. However, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I do believe that we will mint a ton of new XRP billionaires. Folks, we're not done yet. This will go out of control before it's finished. Furthermore, I am just like every other regular person. I am not unique. I am merely a man on the internet. This is my chance. Additionally, this is your chance. It's real. Being a millionaire is literally a choice. You have the option to be extremely wealthy. You don't need to be wealthy to do this. All you need to do is invest the appropriate quantity of money. After that, you must wait the appropriate length of time. And it really just happens if you're patient and wait. That gives you strength. You can accomplish this by listening to this. I'm going to do it. Since 2017, I have started doing it. Additionally, it is effective since the asset class continues to grow. Therefore, investing requires a significant amount of time to complete the laborious tasks. You simply prevail. This isn't just a fantasy. This is true. You can all do this. And now is the time when this blast off, this last parabolic blow-off peak will occur. It will arrive.